Greetings, welcome to another Dad Diary, and the sun is shining, which is magnificent news because the weekend, let's be honest, was absolute filth. But it is the 24th of September. 24 is always a significant number in the month. Well, it is at the moment because it marks another month since Gemma went, and today is exactly 10 months since we last saw Mummy. And it's unbelievable that time is going so quick because, I'll be honest, in the opening first few weeks, there she is. Right on cue, Tilly walks through shot. It would not be a Dad Diary without the interruption of the tail. But time does get back to normal and it continues to go quick, as it always has done. I'm just going to pop your tail down, Tilly. So I thought, you can probably notice I've written these down. It's 10 months, so I thought I'd very quickly rattle off 10 things I've learnt about grief over the last 10 months. So, using Tilly's tail as a microphone, one, it does get easier. People say this to you early on, you know, things will get easier. And you don't believe it at the time, but it does. Very slowly, but surely, life does get a bit easier. It's not saying it's all plain sailing, that would be an absolute lie, but bit by bit, it does get a bit easier. And that big yellow thing up in the sky, and the company of a cat, does help. Number two, kids are incredibly resilient and resourceful, and can deal with something like this a lot better than you can ever imagine. I think back to that night when I had to tell Ethan that the hardest news you'll ever tell any kid, that his mum had gone. At the time you just think his world is gonna collapse, which it did, and never recover, which in many ways it won't fully, but the way he's been over the last 10 months has been incredible. The way he's dealt with it, his bravery, his character, his care, his love, his concern. So many words I can use to describe him, but he has surprised me in ways perhaps I should have expected, actually, knowing the kind of kid he is. But kids can deal with a lot more than we give them credit for. Number three, no one's journey when it comes to grief is the same. I've learned that as I've gone along, that for all of us, we are unique. We're different individuals, of course we are. And when it comes to something like this, yes, at the heart of it is the same thing. It's loss, it's painful, it's disconcerting, it fills you with fear. But how we react to that, how we deal with that, varies dramatically from one person to the next. Yeah, you might have some similar things in the early days, like that denial that anything's happened, which you do. But I've seen, as I've read other people's stories, as I've been in contact with people who are going through something similar, you know, we're all different. And you can't prescribe how you get from A to B for one person in the same way that you do for another, because we are all different. And my journey will be totally different to other people's. There might be some similarities at similar times, but it's a unique journey. And you can reach out for support through others and with others who have been through the same. But you will quickly discover that your journey is unique. And in many ways, that does make it a bit harder because you've got to find your own way in that unique journey. Number four, grief is like a tormentor. Big word, I realise, but it is. It can come and torment you when you least expect it. And you think you're having a good day, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, it's tormenting you once again. And you're feeling upset, you're feeling angry, you're feeling confused and fearful about the future, whatever it might be. And it can often be in the really mundane things, like just cooking. Like just being sat on the sofa in the evening in the lounge watching the telly, a pretty mundane, normal thing that so many of us do. But in that moment, you can be tormented again by the fact that your old reality of sitting there together and doing all those old things together is not your new reality anymore. You're learning to adjust to a new normal. And sometimes that's fine, but other times it feels like you're being tormented by an absence they're really hard to get used to. And I just have found that as time's gone on, in the early days, grief felt just oppressive all over you, no escape. But as the months go on, you can escape it for longer in the knowledge that at any moment it can come back and really give you a horrible tickle and torment you again. Number five, it's okay to laugh. And I laugh more and more. I laughed in the early days. And sometimes you feel a bit bad in the early days laughing, because why should you be laughing and finding humour and finding things to smile about when you just lost someone so important? But you need to, because that's part of life. And you should never, ever, ever, ever feel bad for doing that, because the person you lost, they probably, I'm pretty sure, would want you to laugh again and find joy again, because they'd know that that doesn't mean you're not missing them. It just means you're finding moments in life where, metaphorically and physically, the sun shines. So I've learned that it's okay to laugh, and actually it's good to laugh. Number six, I've learned over the last 10 months that people are by and large incredibly kind. You know, as I sit here now, it's Ethan's birthday on Saturday, and people who we've never met, are sending cards and 1 or 2 are sending presents. We didn't ask for that. I'm aware that, I guess, what I've done work-wise, well done, right through shot again. People don't want to see your bottom, Tilly. Thanks ever so much. Yeah, my kind of position in terms of what I do has given me a voice, a presence that other people don't get, and I understand that, and I have to appreciate that. This is not the same for everybody, but people have, over the course of the last 10 months, been incredibly kind, and it's been the random acts of kindness from total strangers that has made this journey at times easier to traverse and life easier to bear. So it's been amazing, and just thanks so much for those people who have done that. Number 7, I'm gonna have to rattle through this, or I won't go over me 10 minutes. New friends do come into your life. I was told that very early on. You know, your friendships will change. Some friendships, sadly, will fade away, but new people will come into your life. And that has definitely been the case for me. I've still got my old friends. Some have kind of not quite disappeared, but have faded away as the months have gone on. But it's been such a massive blessing to meet new people who didn't know Gemma, so there's not that history there with them. They don't come into our house with those sort of poignant, painful memories of Gemma being here and feeling her absence. They've become really important, and it's not in any way, shape or form saying my old friends don't matter. They absolutely do. But you've got to see it also as a blessing when new people come into your life to help you walk this journey. In at number 8, life looks and it smells different. When you go through something like this, life does just feel and it smells different. You see things in new ways, all those kind of things that mattered and you would lose sleep over, like, am I putting enough money into my pension? How much money is in this house? How much is it worth? What if I can't pay off the mortgage in a couple of months' time? All valid things to think about, but I gave them way too much prominence in my life. Way, way, way too much prominence. And when you go through something like this, it gives you an understanding in a much more immediate, in a much more tangible way of what is important and what isn't important. And life just smells different. The things you thought that mattered ultimately didn't. The things that really did matter, well, some of those things you've lost, and it makes you appreciate what you have. And when you've got good things going in your life, when they come along, grab them and rinse them out for all they're worth. Life does smell different. That's number 8. In at number 9, kind of off the back of that, it's a damn obvious thing to say, I know, but life is too short. It is really too short. And you know, there was a quote that my vicar David said when he spoke at Gemma's funeral. I probably won't get the words exactly right, but it's just saying that, you know, a man or woman's worth in life is not measured by how many years they've lived. It's measured by what they did for other people, the ways in which they blessed other people, and Gemma did that. At church yesterday, the group of women and men who've taken her refugee project on got up at the front of church and spoke about where they're up to and the fact that we're now only weeks away from welcoming a Syrian family here to Reading. That's incredible what she did. Yeah, her life was way, way too short. She should still be here. But my goodness, when you measure what she did, there's the value in her life. And life is too short. You've got to make the most of it. There's no guarantees about tomorrow, but often when we hear that, it washes over us. We've heard that before. But sometimes, just sometimes, for some of us in life, we get a really stark, horrible reminder that actually life is fragile and it can be short. And the last thing I'd say, in at number 10, is what I've learned in the last 10 months, is that it is possible to find hope again in what feels like a totally hopeless situation. You know, my bedroom, our bedroom is just up there. You know, those early days, I couldn't even go into it. I felt physically sick being back in the room. I'd run in to grab a pair of underpants and run out again. Couldn't spend any time in there. 10 months on, I sleep in there every night. It's not the same. It's still painful at times, but I'm back in there. And when you see the changes that happen in yourself, when others tell you about how different you are, how you just seem to be growing in strength every day, and the encouraging messages I get on here and the encouraging messages I get from family and friends give you hope. And I've seen hope, and I'm writing about it in the book at the moment. I've seen hope right almost from that first day, that first Saturday, in very small ways to much more significant ways. It is possible in the most hopeless of situations to find hope again, and a big part of that is my faith. You know, my Christian faith is a massive part of that. Hasn't always been easy when I've wrestled with God about why what happened did happen, but it still has given me hope, and that is massive when you go through something like this. You have to find a reason to live again, and a big reason for living again is not just, and this is massive, the life of my boy Ethan, but it's about finding hope again, and when you find it, you grab it and you hold on to it for all it is worth. So 10 months on, those are my 10 things I've learned about grief. And what I've also learned is that whenever it's alive, whenever it's a dad diary, Tilly's always in on the broadcast. See you soon. God bless.